There we go. Let's see. We need to do some fixes today. We have just added our game to the browser and we have done some fixes on our server that allows us to stay connected. However, we're still getting a few issues from time to time. The most recent one being a status error, or rather an error status response of 8, which is just a connection error. Now why that is occurring, I can't really tell. That may be because I have let this stay on overnight and perhaps my machine is doing some funny stuff, I don't know. Our API is still running. There's nothing wrong with our backend API. It is running, it should be working. There's no errors printed here and we do perform ping requests. The last ping request was after midnight. And that is probably around the time when our server died. And the second issue is we get an error 31, which is an effect of the initial error of status 8, which is the connection error. And what happens is this error is being recursively looped in our server. If you look at our code here, let me shut off the server. If we look at the code, let's see, GD, here it is. This does not work as expected. Our retrieve function does not work properly because we are trying to restrict the number of maximum recursion we are allowed to do. However, the retry num+1 and this does not seem to work. We still end up here. And it keeps going recursively forever and ever, and I cannot figure out why this does not trigger. It behaves really strangely is what I'm trying to get at. So I'm going to remove this and see if we can't do this a different way. And I'm thinking maybe using a timer is the best way to do this. Perhaps I can even use the ping. After all, this does occur during our pinging. We ping every 30 seconds or so. And we do that to make sure we have a connection with the back end, otherwise things will go bad. As you can see on our logs here, it began with the error status 8 and then it went recursively inside itself. So we got an 8 here, we got here without an error. And then we began retrieving. Then we went in here and then we go in here because we now have an error which is 31 and it keeps going inside retrieve over and over and over. So inside, inside, inside and so on. And this does not work the way we expected it to work. So I cannot use that, which is a shame. But the great thing, we can actually see the timestamps here. It worked for quite some time. Until 0:27. That's when you got the first error. And I have no idea why that is the case. Why we get a connection error. I would like to find out though. Let's see. No, that's not the right one. It should be client. There it is. Connection error status. Let's see if I can find some information about this online. Godot Engine. There does not seem to be many. There does not seem to be much information about this. However, let's use the ping. Let's use the ping to our advantage. If we fail pinging, fine. We will have handle that there and then, and just prevent us from not stopping the application. We don't want to freeze the application in any ways. We want to continue. We want to make sure the application can keep correcting itself. So how are we going to do that? So on ping timeout, we try a retrieve, right? And this will return something. Hopefully it will return the response in one way or another. But this does not work. The recursion does not work. So I'm gonna remove that. I'm not gonna use recursion. Instead, I'm going to return the error to the initial caller, our ping timeout. So if it has error, we're gonna log it. We're not gonna do this, but we will return this. We will return it. And from that, well, actually, I can probably extract this out. I think I can extract this out. So our first status was the number 8, this one. But I'm checking for this one, so maybe I should add this one to our reconnection attempt. So if you get this or the other one, we can attempt to connect to the host again. But doing that, we should make sure we have disconnected. How do we do that? Isn't there a disconnect or something like that we can use? How about close? There we go. What's this? Ah, yes, this is not right. Is it? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll close the connection and connect to the host. I can just add the close here. So every time we attempt to connect to the host, we'll make sure we close it. Now, if it's already closed, it should not respond in error, I think. Well, it doesn't tell us what happens. We'll try it out. I think it should be fine. It just won't do anything if we are already closed or if we don't have a connection that is present. Otherwise, if we do, we should be closing that there, and then we connect to the host again, which is the backend API. I will remove this and set this to default. And I don't want to stop here. If we get this, if our status is not okay, how are we going to handle this? Well, I want to print this first of all. Not just print, just log. Yeah, logger. Error. Could not connect to host. Received error status. Apparently I don't have a logger in this scope. And I do want... Wait, this is the web client? Who cares about the web client? Close. I should delete that. I'm gonna delete that. Remove. UI builder. No, keep that. Oh, crap. I regret deleting that one. There we go. I got it back. Response, delete. Be gone. UI builder is fine. That's a good tool to have. There's nothing wrong with that one. Okay, let's see. What do we have now? Let me clear our long list of scripts, which are... Let's see. The ping, the database script is right there. So when we connect the host, if you fail at this, I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop. I want to log. If status is not okay, log it. And on this one, we should have a logger, and we do. Good, 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 good. Could not connect to host. The second argument is the name of the function we're logging. What am I doing? Hold on. String. There you go. It's going to be the status code, which is going to be renamed to error. So if we get an error, which is not okay, we're going to log it. Okay, what else? We want to return though. This happens, we want to return. Just return. What happens then is, on ready, this just does nothing. And then we're gonna set up a ping timer. And this ping timer is what we are going to be using to make sure we remain connected. So on the ping, on retrieve, we want to make sure that we will connect if we're not already connected. I do wish there is a way to check if I am connected. Perhaps with the connection itself. Get connection. I don't know. Status. Returns to status constant. Need to call poll in order to get status update. I don't know. If I'm not connected, how can I check if I am connected to someone? Let's see. Connect the host. What happens? You get the host, you get the port, SSL, and whatever. I don't know. Connect the host, it does nothing if it fails. However, if it's okay, we're gonna try to poll it until we have a status. If it's not connected, we have an error. So let's handle that as well. If our status is not connected, then we have a problem. What's the problem here? Connecting, resolving. Failed to connect to host. Received error code. Well, error status in this case. HTTP client get status. There we go. And this is logged in. Connect to host function. Yes, very good. Hello, Slacks. Welcome. Which bit are you trying to fix first? Yes. Well, yes. I'm replacing the recursion with a little better error handling. The only downside with this way is that it's going to take 30 seconds between every attempt to connect. I may fix that later on. However, this problem isn't so bothersome that I need to do that just yet. Right now I'm just trying to make sure that our server keeps its uptime for a long time without going down if we lose connection for a while and so on. So now I'm just trying to make sure that we don't shut anything down when we fail. If you fail connecting to the host, okay, fine, log it, but continue and try again later. Let's see. So if you fail, I'm gonna return here as well. We'll remove the assert, and otherwise we're gonna print connection successfully established. So this is fine now. So when we start our application to connect the host, if we fail, we're gonna be relying on the ping timer to connect to the host on demand. If it fails. So I'm gonna move this code out. I think. We'll see. I can remove this altogether now because I don't do anything in this function. Let's see. Let's see. Once I do the request, I get a response, right? So it's the same code as before, except now it's on the ping timeout. So if it has an error, well, I still want to try, right? If it has an error, frankly, do I have to handle every single case? Oh my god. Okay, but let's also add the different response though. If it is disconnected or the error status is what? Hold on. Early, yes. I'm a little early, about 3 hours early, you're right. I'm trying to get more done, because I will be streaming around 3:30, or my time, 3:30, normal time as well. I'm just padding it with extra streams, probably before and after. Because we are finally progressing, we are starting to have something. In not too long, maybe you can join if I give you the URL to a, I don't know, a Roku hosted client or something. Then I can run the server here and we'll see what happens. I think that'll be fun. Once you have something of, something you can do. I also need to implement, login password or something like that. Maybe with Gmail or Twitch accounts or something. So I don't want to deal with your passwords. I just want to know from a reliable authentication server, such as Google's or Twitch, that if you are okay, are you okay? And then I'll save you. And that way I will not have anything to do with your passwords. When you log in, you don't go to my game, you log on to your to Gmail or whatever. What was the status? Was 8, I think, right? 8 status, here it is. 8 is connection error. Yes, that one. Let's add that one to our list of actions that can occur. So if this happens, we're going to be connecting to host again. Trying to do that. Let's remove this one. Let's not do this anymore. Let's not do this. We're just gonna try to connect. If we get this or this, we're gonna try to connect to the host. If we get an error, I'm not gonna return. I'm gonna wait until next time. You know what? I think we should connect the host in any of these cases. Or at least try that. Actually, no. If you get an error, then we will try again. However, if we're disconnected or we have a connection error, then we try again. Yeah, this should be fine. I think this should be fine. If response error status in is returned. If response error status. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. Can I do that? If response error status in. Let's try that. I haven't done that before. I agree with it. That's way better. Does that work? Cool. I didn't know we can use this. This is new to me. Thank you. Sweet. Let's try it out. I will be replacing all of this once we have something that is stable. We'll probably dedicate a day, a stream or two, just for cleaning up, reorganizing and whatever. Just do some maintenance work, basically. Right now, that's not a very high priority. The highest priority now is just make everything work. And once it's work, we can start, fixing it one step at a time, making sure it keeps working while we do that. I think this is fine now. I think this is fine. We get the status from our ping. If we get an error, we will try again next ping. If you get the error status and we have disconnected or we have a connection error, we're going to try to reconnect to the host. And we'll try again next time. I mean, I guess I could try this, actually. Nah, it's good. It's fine. Let's try this. This is fine. We don't have a search anymore. We're logging them if they occur. The same with this one. No, the retrieve itself just returns the error dictionary. The same with the error status dictionary if that occurs. Yes. We don't have any more asserts, and that's a good thing. Now, my concern right now is that if we have an error when we do it outside the ping, what's gonna happen? We are gonna get retrieve, and we are gonna get a dictionary with just an error or error status, and that's inconvenient. Perhaps we can add another property. As error, I guess. I don't know. True. It's not the best or cleanest way. Block clicks contains dirty word. Really? I'm not. Thank you, but I'm not gonna worry about that now. If people want to curse on the server, that's up to them. I don't want to stop them. I don't want to be a mom It's gonna be like, no, you cannot say dirty words, you know. It will be up to the servers to maintain that, I think. And I will add support for it though. I'm not saying I'm not gonna add support for it. It shouldn't be a problem to add chat filtration support later on once we get a chat. It's okay, key. Yeah, that's a good idea. But then I will have to But then I will have to check if it's not okay, and that's a reverse. I'd rather not check if it's not okay and then to do the error handling. I'd rather just ask, do you have error? Yes or no? If we have error, we do the error. Otherwise, we do the normal flow. I do try to avoid using the reverse has connection, for example. I would rather use is disconnected, for example. And that just makes code more readable. Well, yeah, readable. We'll see how it works. We might change this anyway, if it doesn't seem to pan out the way we want it to. And the only reason I added this is so I can handle this outside. So when we use the database, db dot something. So for example, here in the world, we're retrieving the entities. So if we has error, if response, can I use this directly? I think I can, but I'm not sure. Then we're gonna do the thing. I am already logging our error, so we don't need to log this here. What I do need to do is handle it. What if we can't get entities? What do we want to do? Well, during startup, if you can't get entities, I probably want to shut the server down. I'm pretty sure. Unless I use this multiple times. No, I'm not. Okay, let's shut down. Get 3. And quit the game. It's over. We lost. What else? Dictionary retrieve server. Now this is a little different, I think, because now we're trying to get the player information. I think, aren't we? No, we updated player. Okay. So if we fail to update player, how are we gonna handle that? Now, frankly, I would rather prefer not to have any errors ever, and make sure we stay connected outside of this always. I still don't know why we do get the occasional error. I don't know. Excuse me, I'll probably have to refine our DB code and handle this from within here and attempt multiple times with maybe the second delay between, like this, for example. Let's see. Instead of to avoid memory leaks, it's best to call deferred quit instead of. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Let's see. Get 3 quit. Get 3. Call deferred, I guess. Wait. We have another one here. Let's try that one. There you go. Luckily, we don't have many quit scenarios, and that's the way we want it to be. However, if we need to add support to add new players, right? And we need to make sure to be able to, you know, log in and all that. We haven't done that yet. We are still currently in the testing phase, where I'm just manually adding usernames that they choose to use. So I'll have to remember to do that at some point. Not yet. Before we are ready to share this code, I guess. To share the client with others to try it out as they want to, or as they please, rather. Let's see. Okay, I think it's okay now. Hold on. Wait. World. If it fails, let's remove this one. Server. Server, start server. I don't know. Let's try it out and see how it goes. Let's run our server. Let's run our client. Oh my god. Ah, yes. Has error, of course. Has error. You know what? I don't need to check the value of that, because we're only gonna set that if we has an error. Yeah, if it has error. Can I make it empty then? Do I have to write this? Can I just I guess it doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't matter. let's just try again. I think I missed this, but you were packed sniffing a few days ago. Are the first password? There's no passwords yet. There are no passwords in this game yet. We haven't gotten that far. However, I can sniff passwords that are being entered in unprotected domains, such as HTTP, on my local network. So if you're logging onto an insecure server with this one, I can probably sniff the password. However, if you're using a VPN, like I am usually doing, like NordVPN, not a sponsor, it is going to be securing the packets for you, and you shouldn't be able to see that communication as plain text. Okay, our server seems to be up. Let's load our client. Okay, our first client. Where's our second client? We should have 2 clients. There it is. Okay, starting my left client. Yay, here we are. I'm still here, that's good. Starting my right client. Hello. Now there's an issue now with spawning players. They are stuck in the walk animation, and when I walk, they actually are idle. So I have no idea why it's reversed. If we look at the joining player though, the player that just joined has correct animation for existing players. So if I now walk with Ivan, you're gonna see the walking animation on the guest side, which is, sorry, right here. I'm walking on the left screen now, and you can see the animation working fine. But not for joining players. Let's see, what do we get here? A new player joining us, but the name of guest and ID, that and that, okay. So we have to fix that. I think we have fixed this now, because we removed the recursion, so let's remove this. And we also have this, fix this one. I think I fixed this one as well. Yeah, I fixed this one. During my off hours, I was just fiddling with the code a little bit, and I fixed this. I fixed this by making sure we send a dictionary instead of just a username string, and that dictionary contains the username and the position. So now we're working on fix spawning players stuck in the walk animation. So we have to look at the existing player code. I'm gonna move this to the right. I'm gonna close this one as well. I'm gonna shut off the server and see what we can find. Server. When a player joins, we ask for authentication. Then we receive authentication, which is just the username, not a password. Yet. What else? The joining player, we get the information for the joining player from the database, I believe. Yeah, from database. And that contains the position, it contains pretty much everything. Except states. We don't have any states. And then we add a new player to the scene by instantiating it to the server, set name and so on. Maybe I should set the animation here to the idle by default. Would that fix that? It probably would, wouldn't it? But that doesn't explain why it's reversed. The animation is reversed. When I walk, it's idling. And when I stand still, it's moving. It doesn't make much sense. Let's see, when do we notify other players? Let's take a look at the client code a little bit. Player script. Let's remove all the... There you go. Now we are sending the player info. Should this be a puppet though? No, it shouldn't be a puppet, should it? We are now using RPC. We're not using rset. I mean, I guess we could use rset if we wanted to, but I don't know. But it doesn't need to be a puppet, I believe. Let's see. So when we move, we update the other players about the current state and whatnot. So when we move, what are we doing? What are we doing? What is the initial state of the players when we move? Let me debug. I'm gonna debug. I'm gonna view the remote scene. That would probably be the easiest way to determine what's going on. I use RSet in my case, but it's the same thing in my end, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we're currently changing the code to send all the data every time we need to, which includes our state and state info, which is inspired from the fish game, which we have been looking at last time. This game here. The two coders that have been writing this have been doing a really good job. I think it's really well maintained. Now there is the only problem with the way they have done things is that they have ginormous scripts, which is not a good thing in any case. However, the code itself is pretty good. And the way they have done this using a state machine is by sending the RPCs when certain conditions arrive, such as when you move, when you change your type of movement, or when your state changes, so when you go from idle to walking, or from walking to running, and so on. And they're also utilizing an input buffer, which is a kind of ingenious way of doing this. Because by using an input buffer, it's just a list of the keys the other players are pressing. And if you can receive those keys the other players are pressing, you can then use those keys and just run them on your own. So I don't have to do a if master do this or else do that. I just run the keys that is stored in the input buffer on the other nodes, and that way I don't have to worry if it's a master or not, which is a great idea. If this is going to work in the long run, I don't know. I can link to the fish game, sure. Let me find it. Give me a second. Give me a second. Godot Engine fish game. I had a typo there, but here it is. This project here is really good. It's a multiplayer fish combat game. They did this for a demo to test Nakama, which is an open source scalable game server. Now ignore this. It's a very expensive game server, $600 a month minimum with a small server. I would not personally use this, but I don't know. Maybe maybe it's good for giant corporations that can afford this kind of stuff. Not having to worry about hosting a server, that is. I do see the benefit of that. Oh yeah, sorry, let me share the link. I mean, I'm sure you can find it, but I'll just put it there. Nakama. No, I mean, I like the idea, but it's just too damn expensive. It's not for indie developers at all. This is completely unfriendly towards indie developers. $600 a month at the minimum with one CPU, a small tiny database. Whatever this means, it's just filler words, doesn't mean anything. It contains integration. This is the benefit, I guess. 1,000. Yeah, yeah, it's enterprise. That's what I'm saying. This is not for indie developers. It's a shame, though. Let's see. Does this work now? Yeah, no. Can I refresh this? I haven't exported our browser game in a while now. Let's see if it works. Well, it works. That's good. This is the old version of the client. As you can see, the background is orange here, not the green. Well, that's good. Let's see. Let's close this. Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't know. I haven't. I should probably do that because I'm getting blinded when I go to GitHub every time. I don't know. Where can I do that? Settings. Just for safety, I'm gonna do this off screen. I don't know if there's some private information or something. Dark mode. How do I turn on dark mode? Dark mode. Appearance. There it is. I found it. Ooh, that's new. Yeah, here we go. I can show this. I can show this. Let's see, dark dimmed or default dark? I don't know. Let's try dark dimmed. Ooh, I like. I think dark dimmed is best because it fits more of the rest of the theme of what I have so far. Yeah, sure, why not? See, I fixed it. Are we happy now? Yeah, this is way better. My god. Okay, closing, minimizing. Yeah, I feel the same. It's kind of dark here in the room, even though I have red and blue lights. My god, I look so angry in my profile image here. Ah, it's fine. Ah, it's fine. I'm not gonna be that serious about setting up a streaming camera thing. At least not yet. We'll see. If I make a living of this, then maybe we'll talk. But now I don't care. Okay, so that's the fish game. Let's go back to our game and figure out what we can do to make sure we don't have the inverse animations. I'm gonna restart the client on the right side. I'm gonna restart the client on the left side. Wait, what's this? Hold on. Oh, here we go. Close this one. Okay, this is the joining player, the guest. When a player joins on an existing player, it just moves weirdly. So let's look at this player here and see what we can find in the world. This is the player number. Okay, I am player 129. So that's not the one player I want to look at. I want to look at the other player. So this one has the wrong animation. State info is empty, previous position is null, username, guest, info, and so on and so on. I should probably export the state, but I can click the state player, hopefully. Yeah, it's supposed to be idle. Wait. Current animation lower score idle. Is that correct? Is that correct? Hold on. Yeah, this is correct. Lowercase idle, lowercase walk. Okay, that's fine. Okay, going back. So why is he walking? Why is my guest player walking? It doesn't make sense. Can you see this? If I, well, let's move this here. Let's move this here. So this is the yeah, you can see him walking from there. That's good. The guest is walking. My player, which is Ivan, is 129. So the guest is the other one, which is 109. The state of the animation player is supposedly idle, which is not the case. It's wrong. State machine. Idle. Why is idle walking? It doesn't make sense. Even if I move the guest, you can see it reverses. Let's look at the state machine while I move as with the guest. Yeah, you can see the state change from 1571 to 1572 when you're walking. So the question is, what states are these? This is idle, right? Yes, idle. So why are you walking on idle? That would mean there's something in the code itself that it doesn't behave the way we want it to do rather. Let's see. Move vector 0. State enter, right? We did this, didn't we? Did we? Did we do this? But even if we didn't do this, when I change the state to walking, which does happen, we're then playing the animation walk. And once we stop walking and enter the idle state, we should be playing the animation idle. But that doesn't seem to be the case, so let me add additional logging. Entering idle, entering walk. Right? Wait. Yeah, this is state enter. Never mind. This is okay. This is okay. I was just looking at this, trying to figure this one out. But when we change the state, we also send this dictionary to the other players, so you can simulate this at least when you enter. Could this be the issue here? In hindsight, perhaps I should look at the animation player and not the state. Okay, this is the animation player to the guest on this one. So if I move the other screen, you can see animation walk, right? But wait, what's this? Playback process mode. Okay, that's something else. Never mind. Yeah, animation is walking now, but you can see it standing still. It doesn't make sense. You know? This is so weird. Let's restart our clients and try again with some logging. So client 1, Ivan. We have our guest here, connect. There we go. So this is guest. Everything works on the guest screen. Wait. Now it works. What the hell? You see this? What the hell? I am confused. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? That means something is happening out of order. Is what's happening. Could it be that we are yeah, if it works, don't fix it. I agree with you. I completely agree. Let's try again and see if something works. Well, it works now. Did I do something? I don't think I did something. Did I do something? Did I do something? I don't know. Strange. Well, I mean, it's not a serious issue. It's not like a game-breaking bug. It's just kind of weird. And funny at the same time, I guess. I don't know. I think we can continue with the player now. I would like the player to face towards the cursor now. So I can look at whatever direction the cursor is. So if we were having a gun, we can go in the right direction. Oh yeah, good point. The print does make everything go slower, that's for sure. Now a theory I have is that the packages doesn't come in the correct order. Even though it should though, because the library we're using, well, it's a WebSocket, I guess. I don't know, I could be wrong. Yeah, let's remove the prints. Remove from walk, remove from idle. Let's try it one more time and see what happens. There we go, guest. Well, it still works. So that's good. Yay, it works. Okay, next task. Let's fixed. Continue to input buffer for state manager to simulate key presses by creating an input buffer. And by creating an input buffer, that's going to allow us to remove this altogether, because we're not going to use the input. We're going to be using a new input buffer. And that input buffer will belong to the player, or the node rather. So it's the same as the velocity, player velocity. It's going to be the player input buffer, I guess. Hey, take care. Thank you for joining today. Thank you. Let's see. So we want the input buffer now. Before I make any big changes like this, I'm going to add an input buffer for the purpose of both synchronizing all the nodes, the most easiest way I can imagine without having to modify a lot of code, like if master to this, if slave to that, and so on and so on. Hello back, you? I cannot say your name, I'm sorry. Since what age have you been doing game making? I have no idea. Maybe 7 years ago I started learning game development. Probably around 7 years ago. I'm guessing. Maybe it's 8. Maybe it's 5. I don't know. Oh no. See, we have the same issue as before. The anim cannot be fully loaded. And that we know that's silly. That's wrong. That we know. Ooh. Can I run this as in the same? Can it? No. 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 Oh my god, it works. I can run using one client now. I don't need 2 clients anymore. Oh my god, that's so good. Hello. Hello, Ivan. Boop. Yeah, we still have collision though, a little bit. That's so cool. Oh, great. Excellent. Yes, I can remove the client. Where's the other client? This one is dead now. Hopefully forever. Quit. I don't like this though. I heard they're gonna fix this. This is supposedly an issue on Godot's GitHub. Sorry about the banging of the table. Let's see. I don't like this one. Why? Unused argument. Yeah, let's fix that. Let's add an underscore. Let's add an underscore here as well. And by adding an underscore, you're telling the engine, Godot Engine, that we're gonna ignore this. Ignore that this is unused. Cool, I can run this in browser. That's so cool. So cool. My god, it's so cool. Let's see. Okay, the input buffer. Let's see how much I can do without consulting with the fish game. It's gonna be the player that owns this, but it's gonna be a script, possibly a singleton, a global script, possibly. Hold on. My Google just woke up. Did I say something to offend it? Maybe not, I don't know. Okay. Let's close the HTTP server for now and see what we can do. I don't need the server now, I think, so I'm gonna minimize that. I have a lot of windows everywhere. I wish I can clean this. Let's turn this off. And I don't need to serve this anymore. I'm gonna close this server. This is the way I test exported games, by setting up a custom HTTP server locally, so I can serve the exported HTML files and whatnot. Let's see, player. Let's create a new script. Let me open up the window so we can see what we have here. Player. I guess I can make a script in the player node. I mean, it's going to be the players that own this. Every single player has its own input buffer, right? Let's add a script here. Let's name this the well, input buffer. Why not? That's what it is. Let's see, what do we need? We need a buffer, right? It's just gonna be a dictionary. When we create an input buffer, func update buffer, I guess. So this is gonna be run. The individual players themselves is going to update the buffer for themselves, and they're gonna own the buffer. So let's make a new buffer. First of all, because we want to check if there has been changes. We need to make a function or a, you know, I think this is going to return a boolean. Possibly. We'll see. In the input buffer, we want to check for keyboard inputs. We need to know what keys we want to be able to press, right? If I remember correctly. And it doesn't make sense, because otherwise you wouldn't know what to check for, what key press to check for. So we need a list. A list of keys that we want to press, or actions, or whatever you want to call this. What's it called in the UI anyway? Project settings. Input map. Okay, these are input maps. We want to check what inputs we want. Input keys, I guess. And that's gonna be a list, possibly? Yeah, a list. A list of strings. And we're gonna set that, are we? Yeah, why not? Let's just see. Input keys. We can name it the same, I think. Let's make it default by let's make it empty by default, rather. And if we don't get any, well, it's gonna be empty there also. So what we will send in will look something like this. Right now it's gonna be UI left, I think, and right and up and down. UI left, right, up and down. Yeah, UI left, up. Why not? That's fine. I can reuse this. Left. Was it up or top? It's up. Okay, so up and down. And UI accept, I think. Was that the one I used? UI accept. Yeah, we use set. We don't use select, we use accept when we want to pick up something. And that's the only thing we have right now. We don't have anything else. So this should be fine, right? We're not using this yet. I'm just writing it down so I don't forget. Once it's initiated, we get the keys, and that's that. So when we want to update the buffer, we want to iterate through the keys. So for each well, key in input keys, we want to do something. We want to check for action pressed, just released, and maybe something else, I don't know. So how are we gonna do this? New buffer key. It's gonna be equal to what? Is that right? Hold on, wait, let me think. And in this key, this is, for example, jump. We're gonna have 3 or 4 input events we want to check for, right? But how am I going to name this? How did I name this? Like, how would you do that? Would you just have a pressed or input pressed or something like that? Input. I don't know what to name this. You know, let's create a maybe enum const or something. Let's try enum. Input event. Right? I don't know if this is right. It's been a while since I made the enums in Godot. Pressed, right? Released. No, we don't have released, do we? We have pressed and just pressed, just released. And what else? We probably have something more. I think I remember there being 4, whatever that is. Let's see. The music goes really quiet suddenly. Why is that? Let's find something more aggressive so we can wake up. Let's see. Input event pressed, just released, just pressed. What else do we have? Action press is. Ah, yes. If we use joypad, if we were to use a controller, that would be nice to have. So you can have gradual movement. Maybe, I don't know. I'll wait for that. We don't need that yet. So for now, this is fine. This is gonna be keyboard only game, at least until we get something more out of this. Oh, excuse me. So this is gonna be the key, right? So key pressed. If we are pressing, we want to store the value of our input event. And this is only going to be run locally. For each player, they're going to run this for themselves and then send the buffer to the other player so they know what keys the other players are pressing out of these. We don't have keyloggers. That's what I'm trying to say. We are only transmitting these keys. If you're pressing this, that, or this. true or false. So is action pressed, and that's going to be the name, which is the key. And then we do the same for the other three, which is input event just pressed. Okay. And lastly, input event just released, right? Input. There we go. And that is that. So for each key, we're gonna do this. We're checking for each key. So for each ULF, we check this, this, and that. For each UI up, we check for this, that, and so on. And then we will, then in the client, we will decide what we're really looking for. We can ignore this, for example, or we can ignore this, and we can look for only this. I believe we're only using this right now. I may change that to pressed and add some velocity. So that we can add acceleration and deceleration at some point, as well as keep moving if we want to predict movement. Because if you just pressed, I don't know. We will see. Okay, so we have to check. We have to be able to check if we have changed or not, right? How are you going to do that? And the reason I want to do that is because if we have changed, we may want to forcefully update. But frankly, I don't remember how they did that. And I'm trying my best to understand this and do it myself without, looking for their, solution, so that I can do this over and over again, forever and ever, when I have to. Let's see. Our new buffer is now ready. Okay, so before we set our buffer to be the new buffer, right? We have to see if it's changed. Do we? Yeah, if it's changed. I don't want to waste the effort and energy if it hasn't changed. I'm wondering if I should make a has changed boolean here, but I honestly don't know, or if I should just do it here and return it as a boolean. So before doing this, let's create a has changed, I don't know, buffer change maybe. So if new buffer is not equal, well, is equal gonna work in this case? Maybe. And frankly, yeah, if buffer has changed, if a new buffer is not equal to the buffer, that means it has changed, right? So if it has, well, let's update it, I guess, and return it. I don't know if this is gonna be the behavior we want or not. In theory, it should save us for unnecessary work. But then again, we're already doing the job. So are we really saving anything? I don't know. I have to take a closer look at this. Okay, so now the player, when we do something, we're gonna be the checking here. So let's jump to our player. Let's see. So the question is, where do we want to check for input? Before this, after this, or something like that. I don't know. So if it is not a master, if it does, we want to do this. So I know we want to do this here, only here. We need to create the input buffer first. So let's create our input buffer, which by default is just an empty dictionary. So how are we going to be doing this? Let's see, input buffer. I guess I can make this into a static, can't I? Possibly static. Yeah, this is where we're gonna add the list of keys we want to accept and use and look for. So if you press any of these keys, which is registered in the project settings input map, we will be iterating through them when we manually update the buffer. So if you call this input buffer, let's say here, before we, yeah, the first thing we do, if it does, update buffer, done. And it will, has changed buffer again. So if buffer has changed, we want to be forcefully update everyone, tell everyone about it, right? Yeah, because that means your keys have changed. Yes. Oh, it's starting to come to me here. Hold on. And if it hasn't changed, we still want to move. We want to do the same thing as you have been doing. So that would be in the else part. So you want to, this is the prediction. This is where we would do the prediction. So you keep doing whatever you have been doing then, and keep going through the same command as before. So instead of manually sending this, you should be doing whatever this was. We'll get to that. We're not there just yet, but we are getting there. I don't want to do the position check. I don't want to update only when we move position, because we'll be rotating. We'll be doing a lot of things, right? So if our state has changed, right, that's one. If our state has changed, return, no, not return, this is true. If our state has changed, that's one. Or if our buffer has changed, that's two. Let's make sure to set that to false after we have run this manually. So so every time we do trigger this, whether this is true or not doesn't matter. As long as one of them is true, we're gonna reset all of them. So if this works as we expect, we will be doing this every time we change the keys. But if we hold the same keys down, hopefully this is going to return false. So the new buffer, which has the same keys pressed, true and false, whatever, in these keys, are the same as this. It's going to be false, which means we haven't changed. We're not going to set it. We're not going to do anything except returning false. So this is going to be false. We haven't changed. So it will not run this. But we do also want to make sure we do this forcefully, even if we haven't done anything. Even if we're standing still, we want to make sure we at least send some information periodically. So perhaps we'll have another, what was it, sync counter or something like that. I think that's how the fish project did it. They had a counter, a manual sync counter. I don't know, sync count to sync. Count to sync, I don't know. Let's say, I don't remember. It was a low value, I remember. Maybe 3. Was it 3? I don't know, whatever. Let's try this. Count to sync. Bar sync count. Current sync count is 2. It's by default 1, I guess. So in here, if you do this, current sync count exceeds count to sync. Sync on count, maybe. Yeah, sync on count is a better name, I think, isn't it? No. Count to sync is fine, I guess. If this happened, we also want to be sure to reset this. Whatever it is, reset to 1. So even if this doesn't trigger, we want to reset it to 1, because we still want to wait that time since last change or update. But we still have to increment this, so plus equals 1. But since I set this to 1, I don't know if this is going to be correct. No, it is correct. So when this is 4, that means it's greater than. If it's 3, it is not greater, it's the same. So it's going to be false there. So this is right. Yeah, use key buffer, there. For sync, I think that's this. Minimum text is this. Perfect, good. Yes, very good. Let's see. But we still have to keep doing the last thing. I guess I can run update player. Can I do that? And send the same data over and again to whatever position it is. That's the position. So I'm gonna try this. I don't know how if this is going to work the way I want it to. So we send after player position velocity, which we have stored here, yeah. And the current state and state info. I guess we can do that, right? Can't we? Yeah, let's try that. Maybe this works. State info. What's state info? What is our state? It's a dictionary stored here. Okay, so we can use that directly. That's good. Too many arguments? Oh yeah, that's true. It's a dictionary. It's a dictionary. Ah, crap. In that case, I'll copy this for now. I want to clean this up at some point. Well, that works. Why didn't I do that to begin with? Okay, prediction. Does it work? I don't know. Let's see. Client-side prediction and server reconciliation. Actually, I'm gonna take a bathroom break. I'll be back in what, 1 second? Well, 2 minutes probably. Bear with me. Oakley dokley. Let's continue. Introduction. We explored a client server model with the authoritative server and dumb clients just in the a naive implementation of the scheme leads to delay between user commands and changes to the screen. So when the player presses the right key, the character takes half a second before it starts moving. Yeah, oh my god, this is... Can I... Where's this one? Yeah, there it was. I'm gonna link this to a friend of mine that is working on a multiplayer game. This is an issue I have experienced, and I hope that this can give some advice. Give me a second here, I'm gonna add the links so I don't forget this. Send URL to... So there we go. Client-side prediction. Even though there are some cheating players, most of the time the game server is processing valid requests from non-cheating clients. Yes, that's true. This means most of the input received will be valid and will update the game state as expected. So if your character is at 1010 and the right arrow is pressed, you'll end up at 1110. Yes. We can use this to our advantage. It's a deterministic approach, I guess. The game is deterministic enough. Yeah, predictable. This is predictable. What we're doing is predictable, and that's the entire thing of using an input buffer, because it's predictable. When you press those keys, we expect that things to happen on the player itself. Let's see. Yes. Let's suppose we have a 100 millisecond lag, and the animation of the character is moving from one square to another takes 100 milliseconds. Using the naive implementation, the whole action would take 200 milliseconds. Yeah, naive. No wait, naive, what does that mean again? Naive. It didn't mention that here. A naive implementation of the scheme is to delay. Okay, that's what causes the delay. A naive. Because the server is the one that moves it. Yeah, pressing 100 millisecond late, server tells to move there. Yeah, okay. Let's suppose by 100 millisecond lag and animation from a character moving from one square to the next to 100 milliseconds. Using the naive, it takes 200 milliseconds. Yeah, because when the client wants to move, it has to tell the server that I want to move. The server tells it to move, and then it takes 1 second before you actually move. Or not 1 second, but 100 milliseconds. 0.1 second. Since the world is deterministic, we can assume the input we sent to the server will be executed successfully. So we can assume that, right? Under this assumption, the client can predict the state of the game world after inputs are processed. And most of the time, this will be correct. Yes. So instead of sending the input and waiting for the new game set to start rendering it, we can send the input and start rendering the outcome of the input as if it had succeeded, while we wait for the server to send the true game state. Oh yes! Oh, brilliant! Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm starting to piece this together now in my mind. Oh, okay. Let's jump here a little bit. So this is a prediction. I am updating the player as with the previous data. The only thing that's not correct is the position. So what I want is not the position but the velocity, because otherwise we're gonna stand still while we do this for the 3 frames. So this is not correct unless we can calculate the new position. So what I want to do is I don't want to set the position here when I predict. I only want to send in the velocity and use the velocity to move the player right here, right? So the velocity is going to be consistent as long as it's not set to, well, 0 in one state or another. In our walk animation, our walk state rather, in the physics process, this is where we would move, and moving is going to do the calculation in the idle script, right? Here it is. Delta, get process delta time, you calculate the velocity based on this, that, and this. So this is not gonna happen now with the way we're currently doing things, because we're now checking isNet or master instead of checking the input buffer. And that's what we're going to be replacing. But right now, I'm just trying to wrap it around my head the way this works with the prediction. Because what I want to happen outside of the syncs, when we're not syncing, when I'm not telling the other players what I'm doing, I want the other players, which would be here on me, on the other players, to assume I'm doing the same, whatever I'm doing. I keep doing it. If I keep moving that direction, and I haven't got any other information, I'm gonna assume I'll keep walking there. And when I do get confirmation about what the player is doing, we are setting the position directly, so it's synced. So it is close to correct. So they align close to correct. But if time goes upwards, I don't know if you can see in the screen here. If time is moving upwards, and this is the player, this is the server. The player is sending a signal here that I want to walk up, for example. And the server doesn't recognize this until it goes here. But the player doesn't wait for the server, it just plays the animation as it would normally. And when the server gets confirmation, it's going to send an update with the actual position and states. And if it doesn't quite properly sync, the player is going to get the server state and move it slightly if it has to. So if the position doesn't match 100%, it will still forcefully synchronize every so often. And that will make it so that the other players will be in real time, or close to real time as possible. Even though there may be a delay. Right? Yes. Let's see. Yeah, this picture here. Here it is. Here's the picture I was illustrating with my hands. So the client just animates as it normally would, while waiting for confirmation from the server. And this may not be completely accurate. It may be a little bit different here, but it's going to be so close that you will not notice any difference, hopefully. Worst case difference, if there's a huge lag, you may get the rubber band effect that you see the player walk backward or maybe forward a second, like jumping a little bit. And hopefully that's not going to be an issue, but that may be an issue at some point if you have a really bad internet connection. And that's why in some games, when you see players lagging, they're kind of moving, teleporting, moving, teleporting, you know? You've probably seen that if you're playing games, online games. Let's see, synchronization issues. In the example above, I chose the numbers carefully to make everything work fine. However, consider a slightly modified scenario. Let's say we have 250 millisecond lag to the server, and moving from a square to the next takes 100 milliseconds. Let's say the player also presses the right key 2 times in a row, trying to move 2 squares to the right. Using the technique so far, this is what would happen. Okay, move right. Okay, this is animation 100 milliseconds. So this is now 1 and 2. Move right. Ah, okay. Okay. So we run into an interesting problem at 250 milliseconds. When the new game state arrives, the prediction state at the client is x equals 12. But the server says the new game state is 11 because the server is authoritative. And that's what we want to do. It means the server decides where you really are. The client must move the character back to x11, but then a new server arrives at time 350, which is this one, I believe, which says x is 12. Yeah. So the character jumps forward again. So I guess we need to keep a sort of a counter or something, so the server knows what I don't know. We'll see. Server reconciliation. The key to fix this problem is to realize the client sees the game world in present time because of the lag. The updates it gets from the server are actually the state of the game in the past. By the time the server sent the update to the game state, it hadn't processed all the commands sent to the client. Okay. First, the client add a sequence number to each request. Sequence number, okay. In our example, the first key press is request number 1, and the second key press is request number 2. Then, when the server replies, it includes the sequence number of the last input process. Yeah, okay. Now at T250, it says the server says based on what I've seen up to request 1, your position is 11. Because the service is authoritative, it says the character position at x11. Not that. Let's assume the client keeps a copy of the request sent to the server. Okay, so if the client keeps a copy of request sent to the server, based on the new game state, it knows the server has already processed request 1 based on the new game state. Hold on, wait. Let me think. It knows the server has processed request 1, so it can discard that copy. But it also knows the server still has to send back the result processing to request 2. So applying client-side prediction again, the client can calculate the present state of the game based on the authoritative state sent by the server plus the input the server hasn't processed. So at T250 the client gets x11, last process request is 1. Okay, so here 250 we get x11 and process request 1, which is last. It discards its copy of sent input up to 1. So it discards that input, but it retains a copy of 2, which hasn't been acknowledged by the server. It updates its internal game state with what the server sent, x equals 11, and then applies all the inputs still not seen by the server. In this case, inputs 2 move to the right. So the end result x12 is correct. Continuing with our example, T350, a new game state arrives from the server. This time it says x12, last process request is 2. At this point, the client discards all input up to 2 and updates. Okay, I'm starting to get this. So if the servers, so in this case, let's see if I understand this correctly. If the server then, if you have a list, you have a counter of our requests. So you have a, like a count or something. I don't know. Can I? This is just an example. I don't know. So if we were to update this with every RPC we make from a list, let's see, requests sent, I guess. Let me think. And then we do a second one too, pretty much closely after, before we have gotten time to update the first one. If we are now at count 2 and we get count 1 as a response here, we will disregard count 2 and keep predicting as if we would have to done this on our own. What? Oh my god. We'll see. I don't 100% correct understand this. I have an idea, but that's pretty much all. That's pretty much all I have. Let's see. Let's remove this. Let's remove this. We'll add it later on if we have to. For now, let's just stick with this. State input clear. False 1. Let's try it out and see what will happen. Let's well, I don't have to restart, I think. No, I don't. Do I? No. Let's run in the browser, because why not? We can do this now. That'll make it easier to run multiple clients. I don't have to open another Godot, which is pretty sweet. So left side guest. I don't like the blurriness. I want to fix that at some point. Ivan, and there we go. Perfect. And the state seems correct. Yes. Ah, sweet. Hello. Yeah, seems pretty damn spot on. Now, while I'm testing, of course, I realize there's pretty much no latency because I'm running this on a local server. So it will be interesting to see how this will behave once other players were to try this. If you're gonna get big, oh my god, you see that? Did you see that? Left screen, the player just kind of went on a trip down there, and that is because of our prediction that happened for a slight moment there. There. You see that? Because every time I move now, it should be sending a signal. Like every single time I move. If I stand still, it should be sending... Yes, we have a background. Didn't you... Now you realize we have a background? We replaced the Godot icon, so now it looks more like a game. I mean, this looks like kind of like a game, although it doesn't have any function yet. Oh, you see that? Left side. The player just kind of... Well, I realize you can't see the entire game. I apologize. But the player on the right side was just kind of dragging along on the left side. Because we have some, well, packaging dropping, I guess. It kind of makes it locked one way or another. You kind of see it kind of escaping. Now, luckily, it's not a very it's not an often reoccurring issue. There it is. You kind of escaped there. But luckily, it corrects itself almost immediately. So we will have to look at that. That's probably... That might have something to do with the... Oh, this is rubber bandings. Bam, 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 bam. But we're still not using the inputs. Let's fix that. Let's close this browser here. Let's minimize... let's close this one. Let's see what we can do. Hold on. That's true. I'm not authoritative. The server is not authoritative. I realized. The only thing the server does is prevent cheating. Making sure you don't suddenly move too fast and whatnot. Other than that, the players communicates with them towards each other, updating each other about the player information. And I think that's fine. I think. We will go with that until we find a reason not to. So this is the prediction part. If we get here, we're gonna keep doing whatever we have been doing. But I don't want to send the position here. I want to set only the velocity to remain the same. Isn't that the same as just removing this? I suspect it is. Let me try it again. Let me rerun this. Connecting. Connecting. Yeah, it works the same. Maybe that's what the issue was, though. Let's try it out. Let's see. Let's see if you notice the left player kind of float away. I'm playing in the middle on the screen, right screen. So if the left player suddenly behaves weirdly, that means the same issue remains. I'm just trying to spam the keys left and right to see if we get any big difference. There. Now that may be a better issue. Instead of just kind of moving a direction, maybe it's better to just freeze. It's less distracting at least, you know? But we're still not doing any prediction though. That means if the server, or rather, if the client fails to send message to the client, it's just gonna stop moving. Maybe that's a better way to do this. Then again, because it's going to be a fast, potentially fast combat. There, hey, he left. You see that? Okay, so we had the same problem still. We will look at that later. That's not a high priority issue at this point. It's a issue. That's definitely the case though. Let's close that, close this. Let's take a look. Let's remove this. Input buffer. We're not sending this and we're not using this. I would like to see if this works though. I think it does. I want to use the input buffer. The player's input buffer. Maybe I'll use a buffer variable, so I don't have to use input buffer.buffer. Maybe. How about get buffer on the player? Get buffer. Yeah, get in buffer. Why not? There we go. And that should be returning an array, well, a dictionary. I wonder if I want to reset this though. Oh, that reminds me. We need to add these functions. We need to wrap these functions so we can use this input buffer. Yeah, not the buffer. We want to send the input buffer. Ah, yeah, we don't need to send the buffer. Excellent. We don't need this. Ah, excellent. So we're gonna use this. We're gonna use the input buffer object. So function is action pressed. Well, key. We want to check it. We're gonna use our own buffer and check if we have. So if, first of all, we have to check if buffer has the key, right? Does it have the key? Okay, good. If it does, then we want to do something. So I'm gonna get this, our buffer key dot pressed. Return buffer key pressed. And that's going to be returning true or false depending on whether or not it's pressed. I think that's it. I think that's all it is. Maybe I have forgotten something. I don't know, but we'll try. And we need action just pressed as well. What the? And then instead of press, we're going to check the just pressed enum, which will return the value of this, whatever that was, when we send and receive it. And then we have, lastly, the func is action just released if we need it. Now, I'm not using this, but we may have to use it later on. And these returns bools, so let's be expressive about that. Oh yeah. Well, return false, I guess. That's the default. Yeah, that's a great thing about the static coding. You can get these warnings right away. I think that's it. I think this is all we need to do. If I send this... Hold on, let me think. How am I going to send this? I would have to send the buffer, right? Input events dot buffer. When I initiate this, I only take the keys. How do I update the other buffers then? I guess I need a I don't know, set buffer or get buffer or something like that. I don't know. Let's see. Player. Position, velocity, current state, state info, and lastly the input buffer. Yeah, input buffer. I think that's fine. So that means we also have to take it out. So our dictionary buffer, we will have to get it. We have to populate it here probably. So on input buffer, I guess we can have an update and just send it in there. So update with the input buffer. You know, buffer. Nice input buffer. The buffer is just a value inside here. Let's make the update function and see if it works. Yeah, that should be fine. So that means the other place is going to have a populated buffer. So if this is me and I receive a buffer from other players. This is going to be set on the other players' nodes, which means we can then access their buffer with whatever keys they have pressed. So if that works correctly, that means I can now use this. I can use the input buffer to check for keys. So for example, for this one, yeah, that's a good question. How would that work with the interaction? Because we can interact with items. That's something you have to do manually. Maybe I will leave that to remain only within the individual players, because this is going to trigger a chain of events on those nodes, and we don't need to know about that. All I care about with the input buffer is the movement and state management and all of that, not interaction. I do believe I still want this though. It's Network Master on this loop. But this should be fine. This loop should be fine now. I'm wondering if I should run the processes after this. I'm wondering. Alright, but we can remove this. Let's remove this. And let's make each node simulate the actions by changing the states themselves, I guess. And that will allow for predictive movement without having to send in use the state, the existing state and whatnot. So in calculate action, I don't want to use input. I want to use the player input buffer. Same with this, this, and this. Yeah, that should be right. Move direction. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if this is correct or not. If this is correct. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's working. Let's go to a walk. Let's see. Yeah, same with this one. We don't want this anymore. We're not gonna check if we're master or not. We're just gonna get the direction from the parent. And we are doing that in the calculated direction, so this should be fine now. In theory. But theory is not always correct. Let's try it out. Let's run this in the browser. Where did it go? There it is. It's gonna be the guest. Connect. Oh no, the animation is all screwed up. And I cannot move. Oh no. Oh. Did I initiate this? I don't know if I initiate. Hold on, no, wait. I need to synchronize. I forgot to, I think I forgot to synchronize it. Give me a second. Player. Yeah. This should happen here, I think. It doesn't matter if it's Network Master or not, right? No, it does matter. Oh, crap. Hold on. Let's think. Now we're using the input buffer, right? So every time this runs, we're going to be updating the key presses, right? And that's what we want. We want to update the key presses here. So for each input key, you create a new buffer and you set the new buffer into the buffer. Hello, Captain Fubar. Thank you. I hope you have a nice day too. So far, it's been pretty good. We're working on implementing an input buffer, which should be, well, keeping track of the keys being pressed. However, it's not quite working, and I can't quite figure out why. Let's see. Now, even if I didn't send the other players my information, I should still be doing this, right? So am I not using this? Am I not getting the input buffer correctly? And I'm starting to suspect that because I inherit the idle from here, using this is not gonna work. I don't know. Let me, I guess I can print something. Let's print direction. Let's start it. Maybe I have to restart this. No, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't. What if can I reload? Would that work? With the updates? No, it's not working. Oh my. Let's see. Oh my god. Parse error. What is this? What is this? Is this me or something else? Let's clear this. Okay, it's not me, it's something else. It's not triggering, it's not looping anything. It seems, at least. Maybe it doesn't work with the server like this. Let me stop this and try running locally. Let me close this. Let's see. Oh boy, here we go. Okay, so something is not quite right. I don't think it works with the HTML export. I have to stop and start the HTTP server, I think, here, which is this one. So I will restrict the HTTP browser testing for now and stick to this. So we get this one. What is this? Invalid index pressed. Why is that? Why are we getting... Oh, I see. Because we should be checking input event pressed, shouldn't we? Well, that kind of suck. I wish I could... That's fine. Let's try it out. Maybe that's what the issue was. Let's try it out. Connecting. Oh no. Invalid index input event. Okay, that doesn't work. Hold on. What are we returning here? So I'm setting a buffer. This is what I'm storing, right? So for each key, I'm storing another dictionary. Oh, I see, I see. My bad. Should I be doing this? Yeah, that's what I should be doing, isn't it? So for this jump, we're checking for this key, right? I would like to remove that though. Maybe I'll remove that. I can do this, I think. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's restart, try again. See if we can get... Oh, here we go. There's something... Yes! It works! It works! It's alive! It's alive. Now I'm curious to see how it's gonna work with the others, other players. But before I do that test, I'm going to turn off the logging from our idle. Right there. Remove. Excellent. Excellent. Let's run this in the browser again. Let's see if it works. Ivan. Guest. Connecting. Ah, yes, it works. And the animation works. Everything seems to work perfectly here. Sweet. Yes. That is so cool. Very cool. Very, very cool. Can I go here? Yes. Pick up. It's still synchronized. Oh, you see this? You see this? This is because we don't have prediction. We need prediction, otherwise it's gonna... The service is... or... God, it's so twitchy. How about this one? Yeah, even the player is a little bit... It's not so smooth. Because you can see that we are kind of setting. We want to fix that. Let's see. At least we're now closer to having something usable. Oh, hey, what the hell? It's kind of escaping here, isn't it? How am I going to do that? Do we have to look at the fish project to learn again? Let's close this and see what we can find out. So now we have an input buffer which we send to all and receive from the other players that will tell us what they are doing. And then we simulate the same thing as you normally would in the states without needing to check if it's a master or not. Because from calculate direction we check the buffer if you're pressing the buttons. And I don't care about the interaction. I don't want to care if another player is interacting because that will be the server that should be handling directly. This is just purely peer-to-peer communication with movement, position and rotation and whatnot. The data we want to be happening as snappy as possible. I don't want the server to be too authoritative in that regard. Yeah. If we start walking, we're gonna... Or if we have started walking, we're gonna walk with the new direction, which is calculated from the input buffer. However, I need to clean the input buffer, don't I? Hold on, if... Yeah, if we have used this... That's true. Hold on. After having performed the keys, after having checked it, after having used it up, consumed it, we need to remove it, right? So perhaps after the action press, we need to remove it from that. Yes, hold on, that could be something, right? That doesn't make sense, though. Once you get it, once you check it, if it exists, we're gonna remove it. How? Or do we set it to false? I guess we set it to false is enough, right? How do you do that? Bar pressed. Now we are... But if I now alter this one, aren't we going to be resetting that? You know, let's look at the fish game. Well, let's... Okay, enough independence here. Let's learn from our master developer here. Where are we? Player, input buffer, new. Oh, interesting. So why do you create this in a physics process? Ah, whatever. Yeah, if you're player control, you update it locally, and then you have a boolean. Yes. Ah, good. And if it's true, you synchronize, and you reset it. But you don't synchronize this though. That's changed. That's interesting. Why? Ah, yeah, because you set it to false within the physics process itself. Okay. That's fine. Let's look at their input buffer code. Predict. I still don't understand this. Predict next frame. Set press to false. Release to false. I don't understand that. Anyway, is action pressed? Return false. If it does not have action, you return false. Okay. So he or she or whatever did the reverse of what I'm doing. But how do you prevent it from oh, a hash code? Of course, that makes sense, because you cannot check the values for the buffer because there are two different objects, and if you do an equal checks, I think you're checking for the object. So we want to do hash as well. Okay. Then you after the buffer and return change. Cool. Very cool. Actions is a list. Yeah, that's the action we set in the initiate here, right? So how do you reset it? And that's what I'm curious to know. Let's jump back. Because I know you have to reset it somehow. You have to, because you don't want to. Do you want to run the same code over and over? Input buffer equals in. Yeah. Ah, so in this code he just set the buffer directly. Cool. Okay, cool. Very nice. That's pretty cool. But what about are you going to use TreeNode for interpolation? I don't know. I don't think so. Because we already have the keys for pressing, and all we have to do is keep pressing the keys when you don't have new commands. And then resync, I guess. You know? Because that should do the movement as you normally would. However, I don't know. I have to figure this out and polish the code a bit more so it doesn't look as forced, you know? In the physical process, you update local. That's fine. But you update before you do the physics process. Interesting. And then you move and slide, and then you check the... and then you do the RPC and whatnot. With the newest vector. Okay. Oh, maybe that's an issue, actually. But you don't reset the buffer, really? Let's see. Where have you used this? Let's learn this code. Let's see, has some music in? Wow. Input buffer, press, action press, action press, action press, so on, so on. I'm looking to see if we're doing a clear. And this is where initialize it if it isn't already there. But it does not seem we are clearing it. It seems that we are just updating it on the fly when we receive the update remote player in the fish game. So we just do this here. We don't delete the previous keys. And I guess that's what allows us to do the prediction. I don't understand this code. I don't understand the way this prediction is supposed to work. Could this be a misleading name? Because all this does for each action in the buffer, we just update the action in the buffer to press false. So this is going to return false when we do this next time on the same key. Or at this key. Hold on, wait, I'm starting to... Pressed. Just pressed, just released. But not pressed itself. But just pressed, yes, we assume it's false now, next time. We're guessing that we're no longer pressing it. And that makes sense, because pressing it is like clicking, click, 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 click. That's what just pressed is. So we're assuming it's no longer true. Okay, how about this? When are you using action pressed in this game? You do it when moving, right? But only down. Down, 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 jump down. So you're assuming then, by prediction, that you're no longer moving. Is that true? So this assumes you're no longer moving. By setting the just pressed and just released to false. But jumping and down for whatever reason is gonna keep happening. So it's action pressing down. If you press it down, you're gonna assume you keep pressing it down, for whatever reason. And that makes a little sense because if you press down, I think you're crouching, maybe. Slide, move, idle, fall. Well, maybe not. Duck. As well as jump and down, idle, down, idle. Yeah, if you press down, you go, you sit, right? You duck, yeah, okay. So you can keep ducking. Ah, okay. So it prevents us from standing up suddenly if you don't get connection, but you keep ducking until you are told otherwise. That makes sense with this is action pressed option. What about just pressed? If you just pressed, you set it to false, but is that a good thing? Maybe. I guess we can try that. What's gonna happen though is when we lose connection, we're not gonna just move like we do. And maybe that's a good thing. Isn't that a good thing? Because when we did the tests ourselves on the client with multiple windows, let's stop the browser and start it again. Get it up here. Try again. Let's do a little test. Okay, I'm starting to understand it, but the name of the method is not good. The prediction and whatnot. Oh crap. Move, move. Oh crap. I cannot move. Why? The game server crash? No. Okay, that's weird. Let me change your guest. Okay, I cannot move. I don't know why. What's happened? Well, let's turn that off and stop the server and try locally first and see if I messed something up. Probably did. Yeah, I cannot move anymore. Why? What did I do? I broke something. Oh, I did something. Yeah, what is this? Return it. There we go. Is that it? Was that the thing I messed up? I don't think so. Is it? No, I don't believe that. Oh, it was. Okay, that was the... I apparently messed something up. Let's try it again. Opening the browser. I've been on the right side. A guest on the left side. Yeah, cool. Hello. Let's can you see the no, you can't see the right side. Let me move here. Oh, you know, yeah, you can see here. If you look on the right side, I'm moving on the left side. This is my real player now. But on the right screen, you can see the kind of guest is kind of freaking out pretty much. Oh god, it escaped. Let's see what happens if I were to remove the pressed, as well as not set the position. Am I setting the position directly? I don't think that's what I want. Is it? Maybe it is. It looks horrible. It looks like... Let's see. Okay. So what happens when we are not in the sync? Let's clear. Calling it a prediction, I think, sucks. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. Do last. I need a name. I need a name for the thing we're gonna do in the else part. So when we are not receiving any data about the no, wait, this is not right. Hold on. Hold on. Is it right? If this is not us, then that node has received this data. It has received the position, it has received the velocity, it has updated the state, updated the player, and whatnot. I'm wondering if this is the right call. I know I need to set a position somehow, otherwise they will end up out of sync. Right? But currently it's not smooth. It looks quite weird right now. Where do I move? Where do I move? There, right? So I should move and then perhaps up to the process. No, that's not right. Maybe I should move before I do this though. Let's try this. And see what we get. Oh my god. What did I do? Well, that's not what we want. Move and collide velocity, and then really just by moving that? Really? No, that's not it. Yeah, that couldn't be it. That was weird. Why is this happening suddenly? Did I move? Did I change something? Did I change something? Something big. No, nothing here, right? What the hell is going on? Oh, I see. Well, that explains it. Why didn't it show me that error before, though? Here we go. Yeah, but now I did not... I wonder if it's just a browser issue, though. Because both of these players should be communicating at the same rate. And if you look at the guest... Oh, God. Yeah, maybe the default is better to just stop then. I don't know. Or maybe we'll look at the code a bit closer up and see how they're handling this. Like, really seeing how they handle this. But let's try reset. Let's funk do last, whatever that was. So for each key in not key, in the buffer rather, we're gonna update the buffer. So buffer key dot, let's say just pressed, was it? Yeah, just pressed. Let's assume we're no longer pressing. So if you lose connection, we're no longer pressing there and just released, right? And we're not using the pressed anywhere right now. So we're just gonna assume we don't keep moving like in space. We're just gonna stop, and that's what we want. We don't want to just keep moving and assume we keep moving. I don't know a good name for this though. That's my problem right now. So else do last of the input buffer. But it's not do last. It's update idle, update last, update assume, I don't know. Let's find a better name later. And that should hopefully solve the moving into space part. Will it though? I still have to do this first. I'm gonna move that up here. And then we will reset if we haven't gotten anything. I don't know. We'll see. I'm unsure how this will be. Also, I wish there was a faster way to create two windows without me having to drag it out and just, you know. Oh crap. Two of me. And I can't tell if it's better or worse now. It's kind of snappier now though. Oh my god. Yeah, that did not work at all. Why is that? Why does it keep going? What would prevent it from stopping? What time is it? I'm gonna take a break in about 15 minutes and I'll be back later. Going to eat, relax a little bit, and then we'll resume. I mean, I don't really have to do the fine-tuning of this, but at the same time, it's kind of important, you know, because we really have to do this. We have to fix the networking so it doesn't look like crap when other players are moving, you know. But this is kind of heavy work. It's really back end. It's really network, you know. It's not just Godot. It's kind of beyond Godot. Yeah, you can see the player freezing. If I do a lot of things, well, I mean, handle this most of the time, but sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. Hmm. I don't know. It's not a huge issue, but it may be a sign of that the fundamental is not quite there yet. The network communication and peer-to-peer peer-to-peer communication, I guess. So let's see. Now I'm thinking maybe I should let the server tell the other players what I'm doing instead of letting the players communicate with each other. It's what I'm wondering. And by doing that, that will force us having to handle the prediction correctly from the get-go. Otherwise, you're gonna have like a second, well, not second, but maybe half a second delay from when I press the button and you see me moving on the other screen, you know? But I don't know, it's a lot of... Yeah, there's a lot of issues with this, maybe. I guess we'll look at that, but I don't know if you're gonna do it now. We have done this, kinda. So we should be fixing the turning players towards the cursor. I don't know if I want to do that now. We still need to fix this. This is not good enough. Let's see. How is the fish game doing? Let's just find the answer. So for the this is the fixed. No, state physics process in the idle state, right? Yeah, that's fine. We do the same. Get the input vector, which is based on the input buffer. Then you do the thing as you normally would, and that's fine. That's fine. So in our code, this is also fine. The problem is the player itself. Where is the player? That's not the player, it's the input buffer. Player. Am I blind? It's not here. Okay, in that case, let me open the nodes and open the player node. There it is. Let's see. Okay, this is the physics process. First thing, initialize. We can ignore this. We don't need to do this. Second thing, input buffer change false by default, right? What is ours? Let me just get the solution. What is ours? Has changed is we get it. Interesting. So if it's player control, we update the buffer chain, but if it's not, we set it to false. Regardless. So this is false. Outside this. Does it matter? Yeah, it does. No, if this is player controlled, we do this. So if this is player controlled, we do this, right? Yeah, same thing. Same logic. And the same with this, except here we have some things in between. You had a moving between? I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? Moving. Or they had the physics process, which is the moving and all the things, the key presses and whatnot. So you do the state machine after you have gotten and updated the input buffer. That does make sense, doesn't it? Let's try that. Let's just try it. See what happens. Where'd it go? There you go. So this one, yeah, let's set it to false by default. That makes sense. If it's not a master, we're gonna set it to true. And we will add this between, so we have an opportunity to update our buffer before we do the physics. That makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, that does make sense, definitely. Check the key presses before you try to, oh shit. Simulate the key presses. Now the move and collide, I don't know why I put that on top. That's probably not the right way at all. We should probably put it at the bottom or somewhere between. Okay, you move after you've done the physics browse. Yeah, that makes sense. After you check for the keys, you move, right? That makes sense. So if that one was there, you do the thing last, right? Yeah. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's see. Let's see if it works or not. Stopping. Running. The moment of truth. Is this gonna work or is it going to be a flop? Maybe a little both. And that's fine. That's fine. Flop's okay. Connect. Hello. It's still the issue of the I mean, oh sorry, you can't see it. Hold on. There. We still have an issue with the frames. I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but it looks really strange. It's like you can see two guests at the same time when walking. And that is because we set the position. I don't like that. Oh my god, it just decided to take a trip there, didn't it? I mean, for the most part it works, but the handling, the update handling is not good enough. Let's learn. I'm going to add the fish game to the credits of this game as a ginormous inspiration and code help. Let's see. Now this is the part I really have to update. I think I have to check the remote update. Hold on. Hold on. Custom RPC. Do you send this to yourself also? No. No, you don't, because you do it here. You populate your own input buffer. Sorry, here. If this is you do it yourself. You don't wait for this. Never mind. So what do you do? Do you set the global position? I don't need that because we are using the same worlds. But how do you prevent it from looking like crap when you move it, you know? Because when I move now, it looks like crap because you keep, you know, teleporting. Can it be because of the sync and the input buffer? Yeah, it may be because of the sync actually. Let's remove this to 1. No, 0. So this is always going to be true now. We're going to do this all the time, just for testing. I want to see if it's going to behave like crap. Because if it doesn't rather, that means we have to fix the. Well, we have to create a prediction and make it continue that prediction. Let's try it out. I was right. As you can see now, the guess is pretty damn smooth. There is no kind of flimmering. Okay, so that's what we have to solve. Oh my god. However, this one looks like crap also now. And why is that? Why does the let me restart. Okay, Ivan is the first player now. Ivan, first player. The first that joins the server. Then the guest is going to be the second player. I'm saying it loud so I remember it. So when the existing player seems to have a kind of a smoother effect. Well, when you're not having problems with the connection, I guess. Now the guest, however, let's see. The guest looks like crap. So the joining players look bad. Or so it seems. Why? Why is that? It looks the same as before, actually. I may have to look up a few more examples of this, because I'm a bit unsure how we will well handle that. So joining players is looking bad. How about the third player? Let's make a third player, another Ivan, I guess. Okay, so this player looks fine on the existing player. Now guest looks bad. Oh, it's because my Ivan character is moving faster than guest. So it might be doing that, but you don't see it as, it's not as obvious. You know? Yeah, that's probably it, isn't it? Yeah, no, I do see duplicates when the others are moving. But what? Yeah, hold on, wait. No, it's the same for this one also, actually. I mean, yeah, there's some lag. I'm wondering if it's because of my machine or what. I would like to host the server somewhere else for testing and see how the latency acts out. I don't know. We'll continue this later today. I'm gonna take a little break, probably an hour or 2 hours, probably, possibly 2 hours. One, you know, no promises. Around the same time as I usually do, which will be in about an hour and a half. So until then, thank you all for joining. I'll be back later today. Have a good day. Thank you for joining.